Yay! We finally got started. We're not going to say who left us hanging on.
Steve.
Yeah.
Yard Hunter 5. The old-time veteran let us down. All right, guys. Welcome to Hunters Hangout. This is Season 6, Episode 11. We got one more show to go, and that's the whole season. It's been short and sweet, but you guys are going to enjoy this show. We're going to hand it over to Jamie. Oh, and we want to thank Kathy for coming back on, helping us out in the pitch. Thank you. Woohoo! She's awesome. But here's the prizes for today.
Oh, and look, I'm ready and everything.
You are. Oh, shit. I forgot. Phil's not on.
I am on the ball. Okay, so first prize of the night is this awesome, amazing mask from Face Factory FX. And then from Fright Props, we have four masks. These awesome clown masks.
One lucky winner, right?
Yes, one lucky winner wins all four.
All right.
Right, props.
Fright Props?
Yes.
And then Sinful Audio, one lucky winner will receive one free SFX library. And then if you choose to buy something while you're there, you also get 25% off of original sound design and 10% off of amps and speakers.
Woo! You sound so more professional than Phil, too.
I was Vanna White in another life.
That's right.
And now the unforgettable Hornaments is giving
all
away.
Up until that point.
Ornaments. They're giving away this black cat ornament.
Nice.
And then one lucky winner will get a gallon of fog from Foggy's Fog.
Woohoo!
Fog.
And from Haunt Labs, one lucky winner will get a green Haunter illuminated desk sign, and it will feature the winner's state.
Michigan.
Nice.
Hey, how would they put a Michigan on there? That would be funny.
It wouldn't.
And then everyone listening tonight can get 50% off of Sam Haines by going to their site and using Haunters, all capital letters, when they make their purchase.
Woohoo!
I'm listening.
And one lucky winner will get a realistic looking skull from Nightmare Makers.
Woohoo!
No.
Yeah.
And I Love FX Makeup is giving away one red and one black Hollywood FX hybrid alcohol airbrush makeup, 2 ounces each bottle.
There's more? Oh my God.
There's more.
How many presents
Coming.
are there?
Exotic
Show's
Lenses.
gonna be over.
I know. Exotic Lenses is giving away one free non-prescription pair of contact lenses, your choice.
My hands are getting tired.
And last, but absolutely certainly not least, one lucky winner will receive a $25 gift card to Hotwire Foam Factory.
Woohoo! Yeah.
And that's it.
Wow, man, that's a lot of prizes to give away, man. Dang.
I know. So start asking your questions, because every question you ask enters you one more chance to win.
No, ask all them questions. Get them going. All right, we're going to start the show off, and we're going to come over to Jen. And Jen, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, about your haunt, when you got started. Introduce yourself to everybody watching.
My name is Jen. I'm Jen's haunt.
Okay, we're moving on to Laurence.
You bastard! You mean? I started haunting in 2003, and we finally bought a house, and so I knew that I could have a little more control over what I was doing.
Oh no. Wah, wah, wah.
Wah, wah, wah.
It's going to be one of those nights.
Okay, we're moving on to Laurence.
I didn't do that one.
I think Laurence cut her off on purpose.
Cut it all.
We're coming back to you. We're coming back. All right, Laurence, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your hunt?
We're Shadows Gate, and we are in Canada. We do it for the food bank.
My husband thought I was going to put out.
She's still talking.
And it's our 3rd year. And we have a lot of fun. We get a lot of kids, and it's a family affair, and we get the neighborhood involved.
How about just stop running? I just got kicked off the show.
Sorry. I was asking my husband if he had anything running. Sorry. I'll be quiet now.
All right, we're going to come back to you and make sure you're okay. We're going to let Laurence finish. All right.
That's about it. It's good.
Oh, he's good. Laurence is good. All right, Mike, your turn.
All right, good evening, my fellow Hangouters. I'm Mike Bloomhuff. I run Highbury Cemetery here in beautiful Akron, Ohio. 2017 was actually our 14th year as a home haunt, and it was actually our first year as a charity haunt. We decided to run a canned food drive for the local food bank, and that was a surprising success. So we're gonna continue with that from this point on. Getting started goes way back for me. Being here in Ohio, we have such a rich history of haunted houses and Halloween. I was trick-or-treating at 5 years old, and I think my parents actually took me to my first haunted house when I was 8. It was one of the local JCs, and
I remember that.
yeah, from that point forward, it was just every Halloween. So, and it slowly went from that to going to haunted houses every weekend in October, and then finally getting married, getting my own house, and putting everything out front. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's my story.
That's your story. Steve, what's your story?
Oh, man. I started hunting, I think, before the internet. So it's been a long time. I think it was around 2005, to be honest. It's kind of weird. When I first started, I was like a super cheesy haunter, and I had wooden tombstones that said, "You'll be next," and a bunch of I had an inflatable Shrek vampire. So but I try to forget those days. But yeah, I started, and then I discovered Davis Graveyard, and then that's when I started being cool.
That's when you started being cool, huh?
Yeah.
That's when the internet started, and I found the Davis Graveyard.
Right. I remember when I first started on YouTube, I was following you and like the Bloodshed Brothers, and I mean you were trending like a mad dog on YouTube.
Right. Lots and lots of videos all the time.
Right.
Daily. I did daily for almost 2 years straight, and it's hard. So it's it's hard.
It was fun while it lasted, right?
Yeah, that's your entire life. And so I was like, wow, I'm not doing anything else but that. I kind of have to feed my kids and stuff.
Oh yeah, well that does get in the way. All right, Jen, we're gonna try you one more time.
Okay. Hopefully I won't get cut off.
You can start talking.
Oh, okay. Well, what do you want me to say? Are you gonna ask me a question?
Hey, remember everything that you said in the beginning, nobody heard.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, good thing I was talking shit then. Oh. I'm really glad that we're still friends. Okay, so I bought my house in 2003, and I was ready to start doing some Halloween, and I was watching the YouTube. I was watching, Goth Gloom and Steve and the Davis Graveyard, and I'm thinking these people are just doing crazy, amazing things. And I really liked the look of the Davis Graveyard. And it was cool when I started contacting these people and asking me for some questions, they would answer me, which was great. So it kind of started from YouTube and the fact that I finally had my own house to decorate. That's my beginning story right there.
Yeah, I mean it's always nice to have your own house. I mean, where do you guys draw? I mean, this is a question for everybody. Where does everybody like draw their inspiration from? Is there like a certain person or a certain group? But
Hunter's Hangout is
yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was going to tell you to say.
unbelievable talent.
Right. No,
Yeah.
but seriously, what was your inspiration when you first started haunting, Jen? What was you looking at that point?
I think I had an idea in my head that I was going to end up totally covering my home like I did, and I just needed to make the whole thing disappear and start over. And I started making larger props. Of course, I was watching Terry with all of her beautiful tombstones. And I just had a vision of my house being totally gone, the graveyard in the front yard. And then finally I made the hearse to be in the driveway. And then I felt like I at least had the whole package as opposed to a graveyard in front of my track home. But I was thinking big like that because of the Davis graveyard.
Oh, there you go. What about you, Laurence?
I think I came across Haunted Wasteland's walkthrough video.
Oh yeah.
I was just blown away, absolutely blown away. And then I saw footage of him talking on the news, Jason, and then I messaged him just to pick his brain a little bit. And then right away he's like, "Get a truck, come down here. I got some stuff." So I went down, and it was a good kick in the ass to get us started for sure.
Oh, well, that's amazing.
It's nice. So he gave you a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, he gave me some props and
Wow, that's nice.
yeah, a couple facades. So it got us started, and then I never even thought that big. Like it was, you put out some pumpkins, maybe some tombstones and whatever, but it's as big as you can want to make it. So it's a lot of fun, and we've embraced it, and the neighborhood's embraced it, and now I don't think we can ever stop because they enjoy it so much.
Right.
Even though sometimes there's like a little glimmer, like, oh, I'm tired. It's like,
Yeah.
You got to keep doing it.
Last year we just started setting up, and I was talking to my buddy. He was here helping. I said, "You know what? I think we're going to scale down next year after this year." And then right then somebody walked by, and they're, "Oh, we're so appreciative of what you do. Thanks for doing it all the time." I just looked at him, and I'm like, "Yeah, what I just said, no, forget it."
Forget it. I got a new room I want to add. What about you, Mike?
Mine actually started from, going to the local haunted houses when I was younger, and then it kind of moved into horror films. Me and a couple friends, we'd go to haunted houses, then we'd rent, horror movies like 80s slashers, classic horror at the local video store. And then as it got old, as we got older, then it became, you discover everything on the internet. This guy Pumpkin Rot and what he does.
Yeah.
And, then I discovered Haunt Forum and then Haunters Hangout, and it just took off from there. It's just, the ideas were just coming from everywhere, and it's the inspiration just, through the roof. So.
Right. I always told myself if we ever get Pumpkin Rot on the show, that would be the last show.
You're right.
Right. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's it. We're done.
And everybody else.
It's like the Grail there. We're done. No more shows. What about you, Steve?
Man, it was crazy. My aunt used to do like the coolest Halloween, and I just remember as a kid having so much fun. And like one of the things that's like in my head that I like see all the time, it was like the funnest thing I'd ever did in my entire life was she put out just dummies in the yard, just some basic Halloween cheap stuff. She stuffed them full of newspaper, and they were there for like weeks. And on Halloween, me and my cousins got in those clothes and laid in the same spots. So people had seen them for weeks just laying there, and we would jump up and chase people down the street. And I think that was probably one of the things that was like one of my best childhood memories. And kind of like Jen, like when I finally got my own place and grew up, I was like, man, I should probably do some Halloween. That was like really fun. And so that's when I started discovering all this, Davis Graveyard and all that. One of the first things that I found was a Yahoo group. We used to actually have a Texas group called TX Effects on a Yahoo group. And that was actually the group that I did my first make and take with when I moved to Austin. And we built coffins, and I actually still have that coffin. It's about to fall apart, but it was the coolest thing ever. And it was just out of rotten fence pickets. And I was like, I can't believe people meet up and do this. Like, not in October. This is insane. But
those crazy people.
Kind of where it started for me. And then, of course, having kids and seeing how much fun they have doing it. And then, of course, it just becomes a passion after that. And then you're just kind of crazy from then on.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, did you ever go back and look at like all of our old videos and say, Jesus Christ, our cameras sucked ass?
Oh, yeah.
It's like you can't even see what we're doing. They suck from today.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, we're gonna move over and show some pictures. And Jen, why don't you kind of explain a little bit what we got going on here? Ooh, that's nice.
So I finally decided to embrace my street lamp that I had tried to figure out how to get rid of for years. And I just decided I was just going to light the hell out of the yard and get those cool pictures that I had seen other people do. So that is the front of my house, covered with the facade. And yeah, it was good last year. I was really happy with all the color.
Hey, Jen, Christopher Presley would like to know, does your husband help you with the design and build of your haunt?
No, my husband is a fan of The Other Holiday.
Ooh.
Ooh.
And I don't know how that happened, but I built all these things. I built the pillars. That's my second pillars. The facade that goes over the house, the fence. I build all this stuff. And usually I would start in February. I'm a little late this year, but I am working on some stuff. But no, he does not help, but he does help put those pillars in the ground. And I need his help to get that facade on top of the garage. But I have to hire high school kids now because it's too much for just me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Supporting my community.
Sure.
Support. Hey, and they get like probably points for that, don't they?
Well, yeah.
Community service. They get community service.
I used to trade it for beer and pizza, but now people won't even do it drunk. It's like too much work. And I'm like, come on, I'll get you whatever kind of beer you want. Let's get our haunt on. And they're like, yeah, no.
You think
but if you let the
kids would be all over that?
Kids help you.
I know.
It's less likely that you'll get like vandalism too. Like if your kids walk by and they help, if they feel they're a part of it, I feel super. Like when I have a kid stop by and he's like, "Hey, can I help?" And it's like, "Yeah, man, grab a hammer," and then they're gonna think, "Wow, that's cool," and then they won't mess your stuff up because I know a lot of people have problems.
That's really a good point that we've never touched on. That makes sense to me.
Kids are a lot nicer in Texas. In California, I have never had anyone offer free help, like ever. I have to pay them or get them drunk. And then they lose their buzz because it ends up being a lot of work. But it takes me 2 weeks to get that up. I just need help with the big stuff, and then I do the rest by myself.
Right.
Well, what's in the front of your cemetery sign? What's that in the center there?
Okay, so I remade those pillars 2 years ago because I wanted it to be more complex. So I put a terror TV in there from the Spirits Halloween. So when people walk by, it starts screaming and the face comes out.
Oh.
So when they touch the gate, or kids think that they should crawl on the bottom, and then the thing goes off and starts scaring them, which is always great. They get off of there.
Cool.
Nice.
But I always make, that kind of thing. I make it all out of wood so they can crawl on it. And then we have to rebar it into the cement of the driveway so it doesn't kill anyone.
There's a few comments about your lighting too. You do all your lighting. Are there any special effects you use with your lighting?
I did decide that I like the red lighting and the blue lighting. I think that it works best. And I do use a lot of those fire and ice just so that it's got something going on.
Mm.
So this is my new portion that I did last year. My neighbor is a vet, and they had been saying that I could move over to their side yard if I wanted to. So last year I did, and I made all new tombstones with skeletal animals on them, and then I collected food and toys and stuff for the animal shelter. And then I didn't know we were going to have all those fires in California, and a big portion of Santa Rosa burnt down, and our shelters were full. And when I showed up with a whole car full of stuff, you should have seen their face. They were really happy that that worked out. But so now I moved into my neighbor's side yard.
That's awesome.
It was great timing. I'd been planning on doing this pet cemetery for about 2 years. I finally got it together. All the tombstones were new. And so this is only 25% of the yard. So I could really do another huge portion. So we'll see where I end up with that. But they all turned out really good.
Maximus Bryant would like to know, is any of your haunt a walkthrough?
I used to do a walkthrough scare in the garage. I would have them like a coffin in the back because it's all closed up with the stained glass windows. And they would walk in and a character would follow them in. And then someone would scare them at the back. And then they'd turn around screaming to get out and run into the other character. So this was all fine until too many people showed up. And then I got worried about how much weight my deck could hold in front of the house. So I had to stop that because I was worried about someone falling on my property. I don't have the extra insurance, and I didn't want to get sued. So we did do that, and it was a lot of fun. But it kind of got away from me, and there were too many people.
I see.
In there.
Brent Wilson wants to know, how many tots did you have last year, trick-or-treaters?
I think that I only had about 600, but it's like I'm on the route. Well, you know, some people, they're like, oh, I have 2,000 people. You know, that's not me. But I'm on the route. So they show up, a bunch of kids get out of the SUV, and then they trick-or-treat at my house, and then they go to the next house because I'm the only one that decorates like this. But last year was better. I think they've finally given up, and they're starting to put stuff out because the kids show up anyways.
They're like, if we'll just pretend like we're not here. They won't come.
It's been 15 years and she won't stop. So we might as well give the little buggers some candy.
That's awesome.
So yeah, they finally joined me, but they don't decorate like me, but they'll like open the door and give them a candy. So you see my tree there in the back. I was really proud of that. And if anybody ever wants to make any of my stuff, I do how-tos on pretty much anything I make. But that tree was cool because I made it for about $50, and Spirits was selling, you know, not that, but similar for like $200.
Corey Northrop would like to know, what's your favorite material to work with?
Well, you know, I really like the foam, but I can't get the pink foam or the blue foam up in California anymore. I've got to use the white stuff, which I really think is crap. So I've been pouting about that for about 3 years. And I finally just given up, and I just really have to paint whatever I'm making really well with the black driveway sealant, and then dry brush it, and it holds together. But that white foam is just shit. You know, you go to carve it or anything, and it's falling out, these little balls everywhere. So I would say the pink foam I can't get anymore. It's the word ball.
If not, it should be.
So this was my cemetery from the side, and you can see my neighbor's side yard and then the length of my property, and it goes all the way through the drive-through. So it's gotten big.
It looks really great.
It's huge.
Thank you. Thanks.
Love it.
Yeah, and you know, I want to go up, but I'm scared it's not going to stay up there. And I just, you know, I can't tie anything to the roof, and I can't tie anything to the gutter. If the fire department shows up, then I'm in trouble. But
and you got that C guy that won't help.
I know. Oh Lord, don't even get me started. And he says, honey, what are you making? I said, nothing, don't worry about it.
You don't care.
And then he's like, you made some wheels? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, what are you making? Nothing, don't worry about it.
That's funny.
Yeah, it is. I keep him out of it, and I just don't say anything.
Nice. All right, we're going to move over to Laurence, and we're going to show some of his pictures.
Well, crap. That's not who I had next.
Who you got next?
I had Mike next. Let's go with Mike. He's ready to go.
Okay.
I'm hijacking the show.
All right. You let me know who you got.
You just think you're the host. I am in control.
Okay, so this, I'm actually like Jen in that we have really cool neighbors, and to get through my front yard, you go up the driveway, and this is actually everything to the right in the neighbor's yard. They both now just have given up with giving out candy at their house, and they just come over and help me every year, which is
that's
pretty
awesome.
cool. Yeah, pretty cool on both, you know, because they're really into it and they help out a lot, so it's really cool. And they're letting me expand further over. So every year we do about another 5 feet into their yard. So
Keep creeping.
Yeah, that's everything.
Candles, or did you buy those?
Those are PVC that I made, and then I just dropped a little flicker light, the LED flicker lights in them.
Came out really great.
They did that looks good.
Yeah.
Hey, so when your props move over like 2 feet every year, do they notice, or is it slipping by?
He might, but I don't think he cares. I think he's okay with it. He likes, participating, and he dresses up, and he's one of my actors. So
right, you gotta make sure he ain't one of the people that are like, oh, my grass is dying, or you put a hole in my grass.
No, he's super cool, and he actually lets me run a couple power cords from his house too. So
oh shit, lucky man.
That's really awesome.
Yeah, he's really cool. So this is one of the new props I built this year. This is the Harvester of Brine, and it's just a scarecrow, my take on a scarecrow. I actually bought a scarecrow head from Closed Casket Studios here in Akron, and just built the rest of the body based on the head. The only problem I had with this is the lighting wasn't quite right. You can kind of see it, but he's actually pulling his shirt open, and I have a chest cavity with some sticks for ribs, and inside I have a small wilted pumpkin for his heart that was supposed to glow orange.
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah,
Nice.
so I think I'm going to add a few little spotlights just to pump it up a little bit. But he was down.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I put him right at the sidewalk, so everybody would walk right past him.
So he's leaning on your cemetery pillars?
Yeah, the cemetery gate.
Awesome. Yeah, it looks good.
I just threw a couple bunches of corn stalks behind him.
Nice.
Crandall McKee would like to know, do you make your own props? Most of your own props?
Just about 99.9%. Yeah.
Really awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
And this was a shot going up the left side of the driveway. This was actually a prop that my mother-in-law bought for me a couple years ago, and then I took it and corpsed it out and made it my own. Just a groundbreaker in front of some of the tombstones that I've made.
Nice. She's a keeper.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Nice mother-in-law.
Yeah, she's come up and acted in my haunt before too, which is pretty cool. We made her up as a witch.
Nice.
Hey, are you from Texas?
No, I'm not. I'm from Ohio.
God. I was like, shit. Oh, same thing. I don't like anywhere from Ohio.
Right.
Go Wolverines.
Yeah, please.
Lots of questions about your tombstones. Linda Marshall loves the tombstones. Which one is your favorite? And Crossbone Cemetery would like to know, do you have a total of your tombstones in your haunt?
Total, I think I'm up to about 17 or 18. I'm not really sure. I just, I crank out a few more every year and just keep adding.
You make them all, right?
Yeah. Like Jen, I started with the white foam because we could get that here. And I've actually, those were the first tombstones I ever made before I even knew about the pink and blue foam that we can get here in Ohio.
I was just like, I know you can get some pink and blue
foam
in Ohio.
Damn.
It's cold.
Yeah, I don't use the white at all.
California sucks.
So I use strictly blue. It's so much easier to use.
Mm-hmm.
Your favorite?
Probably my original Highbury obelisk. It was 3 sections that I built, and it measured 8 feet 4 inches. It was the first major tombstone that I built, and I think I've got a picture of it coming up here. But it's always like the centerpiece because it's so big. Drink.
What about this one right here? What is it, big or balls? Is it big balls?
Yeah, whatever. This was actually a statue that my mother-in-law had bought for us, and we put it in our backyard. It was, it was an angel, and in a storm it blew over and broke. So it became mine. Then I broke it a little bit more, and where the wing had broken, I had just grabbed a bunch of vines and just whatever had fallen out of trees and stuff, and really shoved it in and just kind of formed it into a wing. So, and then, you know, gave it a coating of the watery black paint to make it look a little more ominous. And now it sits next to that obelisk in the center of the cemetery every year.
Nice.
I think Jamie's got a picture of that. We're gonna give her a second.
Wait, what? A picture of what?
And as you walk up the my front driveway, because I do have a bit of a hill, which is perfect for my display, you actually turn left in front of the house. And when you turn left, this is what you see. It was just a corpsed Costco skeleton. I made the coffin itself and threw in just, you know, a couple fire and ice lights on the corner. And if you look to the left of there, the old Highbury sign, that was actually my very first cemetery sign. I still have it in the rafters of my garage. So I pull that little piece out and throw it in, just kind of an homage to the original haunt that I did.
Are you growing that corn?
No, there's actually a couple farms around here. Last year I went out and I took 2 full carloads. I tied them up to the roof of the car.
Mm-hmm.
I think they were like $3 a bunch.
Wow, that's so nice.
Yeah, threw a bunch of money in there and said, I'll be back.
I'm so jealous of people who can use corn.
Yeah.
We have too many deer. They tear them down as fast as I can put them up.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry Barb would like to know, do you change themes every year?
I don't. I'm so far into the cemetery now, and I don't have the time to start over at this point.
Right.
Because another thing is, I guess what we're kind of infamous / insane is that we are a 1-day only haunt. So we set everything up Halloween morning. We run the trick or treat show for 2.5 hours. And then literally we tear everything down that night. So
oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is there a reason? Like, are you having theft or?
No, you know, originally that was part of it. I just wanted to make sure, because everything that I do is handmade. I just wanted to make sure that there was no problem. Not that there ever was. But then it just kind of turned into, you know, it's like, well, instead of having it out for 3 weeks, people already know what it is when they come up to it. It's kind of like a show where it's that night only, and if you don't make it, you're out for another year. So it's kind of like a grand unveiling on Halloween night, and then as soon as Halloween's over, it's gone.
Nice.
Wow.
That's nice.
Yeah, I think it keeps it kind of special for everyone in the neighborhood.
Cool. All right, we're gonna move over to Laurence and check out his pictures.
Speaking of corn.
Hey, check this out.
Yeah.
Jamie's right on point. Bam.
That's beautiful.
That's a cool entryway that I got from Grant McDonald. He carved that, and he retired, so he actually loaned it to us, and then after he was like, just keep it. So we're pretty happy.
Wow.
Wow, that's beautiful.
That's pretty killer. Yeah, I love it, actually.
It is very nice.
And what's up with the corn? Is
that's in between. The house on the left is my neighbor's house, and she lets me go onto her property, so that's pretty good. And she also lets us run cords, which is awesome too.
And is this a side yard?
I'm sorry?
Is this a side yard?
Yeah, this is in between. So they come in the front, and then they go between our houses, and then walk through the back.
Okay.
So this is just in between her house and my house.
Wow.
And that's kind of like a little maze in there. And when it was dark, you couldn't see. So people were getting pretty scared.
Wow, that's really nice.
how do you keep those corn stalks standing up? So they're not planted there, are they?
No, they're just staked and a lot of zip ties.
Wow.
And these pillars, do these candles that the skeletons are holding, you've got lighting in there?
No, not last year, but I'm going to put some lights in them this year.
Yeah, that's outstanding.
Yeah,
You should put some red lighting in the chest.
that's a good idea.
That would be awesome.
Crandall McKee would like to know, what's the arch made of?
It's foam. It's actually carved from that white foam that everybody hates, but
That's right.
he's so good at what he does that he makes it look good.
Gosh, even the top part with all those teeth?
Yeah,
Good grief.
that's carved also. Yeah, it's a great piece.
Well, once you hit it with the heat gun, it comes back together, but it's just a pain in the ass.
I love that.
Oh. And when we thought it couldn't get any better, look at this picture.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's my wife. That's her character. She's the corn witch.
She's so beautiful.
She's a hot chick, that one right there.
She's a keeper right there, bro.
She's a keeper, yeah.
Good Lord.
We made that book. I made that book this year. It's paper mache.
That's beautiful.
Is that a bought mask that she's wearing?
I'm sorry?
Is that a purchased mask that she's wearing?
Oh, it's just a prosthetic.
Wow.
So half is her
That's
face and half
great.
is the mask.
Wow, that's so nice.
There she is.
Wow.
And who does your photography? Because that shot is really nice.
Right.
That was a woman from our church, Jessica Penner. She showed up because our other camera guy, he didn't show up. So she filled in at the last minute. She took some really great pictures for us.
Yeah.
And this must be the beautiful wife.
Yeah, there she is.
And so is she in a whole scene, and does she have an actor's bit that she does?
Yeah, she does. She's got, we put up a witch shack for her. She goes around. She'll entertain in the line. And
Nice.
she's been for 3 years, this character, so people come to expect to see her. They're pretty happy when they do.
I've seen a couple shots with her where she's like pretending like she's not moving and just like a static prop, and they walk in and then she's like, "Hey," and the kid's like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
I actually thought I was a prop.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's inside the witch shack we made from pallets.
Nice.
So we just layered props on props on props, and it really started to look like somebody who could live there.
It looks like a standard Canadian haunt.
With pallets?
I love the wood stove in the back. Check that out.
Those Canadians know how to do it. Where'd you get that baby stroller?
The stroller. My wife found that actually.
Creepy.
Yeah, it was at the Salvation Army store, I think.
Wow.
Like $10.
Lucky.
You find lots of stuff.
Brian Pratt would like to know, do you make most of your props?
Yeah, most of them we do. A lot of witch bottles and the potion bottles, pretty much everything. And when we first started out, we had a lot of spirit props and stuff, and we're kind of moving away from that.
Mm-hmm.
That's just
that was great.
Inside.
Is it open air on the roof, or do you have something on there?
Yeah, there's a canvas cover on top.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually landscaping fabric, a big, huge roll across the top.
Nice.
Hugh Fletcher would like to know, do your kids get involved in the haunt?
Yeah, they do actually. The twins are going to have a bigger role this year because they just turned 4. And my daughter, she's 8. She's got a pretty good role.
Yeah.
He's like, they just turned 4. They're ready to go. Damn.
Right.
Like the twins are creepy anyway, so you might as well put them in the haunt.
I know. You know what? That's when people say, "What is your creepiest fear in a haunt?" I've been through so many, and nothing really scares me. They're like, "What's your creepiest fear?" And I'm like, "It's like little kids, man. That's a deformity or little kids or something like that. That's the creepiest shit to me right there."
Yeah. Especially in the middle of the night when they walk in your room. You know,
Yep. That's scary. I never let mine out of the crib. She'd be staring at me, and that'd be it. I'd just pee.
I like this scene right here. You got the cauldron, and that's where your wife sits, right?
Yeah, she hangs out in there in that chair. Yeah,
Robert Smith would like to know, how many nights are you open?
2. We were open this Saturday. I think it was the 29th. And the weather was really good. And then we were open, of course, Halloween night, and it just poured.
Bob Kamal would like
got
to
about 600 people.
Oh, you do? You have lines and yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Horrible. They should change Halloween to September.
I know the weather can be so shifty.
Yeah. And then the next day, like November 1st, it snowed, and we had a tough time digging everything out. I'm still finding stuff now.
I don't know. I don't think I could do it if I lived in Canada. I don't think I would be like that person. I'd be like, no.
You definitely got to earn it, but it's rewarding for sure.
Yeah, I'm allergic to cold.
A lot of that stuff looks so great covered in snow, though. It makes it creepier with the blue light.
Yeah, whatever.
Is this picture here part of the same witch room, or is this a different room?
I'm sorry?
This picture here, is this the same room that had the cauldron, or is this a different room?
It's the same room. It's just the far wall. It's the opposite wall.
Oh, I love how the green comes through a little bit.
right?
Yeah, that was the other side. We had a market. We had a witches market this year. So
Maxim and Brian would like to know, where do you find most of your stuff? Like in this room here, or all your, scene props?
well, all the jars we made. There's a couple of wreaths I think were from Michael's. That cage I picked up.
Garage sale?
Yeah, garage sale. A lot of garage sales.
What
I
are
like that star in the back. Did you make that?
No, I got that at a greenhouse actually. Supposed to put a plant in it.
Courtney would like to know, what are you using for this purple lighting that we see here?
That's a fire and ice.
Okay.
One fire and ice, and then we had a couple of purple spotlights in there. Just really small, not like floodlights, but just really small ones.
Nice. All right. Well, we're going to move on to Steve and check out his pictures.
Steve,
Mr. the Master Lighter.
Steve.
I've always been amazed about all his lighting.
Winner of the Dead Dave Awards.
Yes, the winner of the Dead Dave Awards.
Here we go.
This was the first year I tried to do a video projection. So this is one of the green ghosts you see in the back are a video projection of them coming out of the ground and flying up into the sky.
Was that a front projection or back?
I used front projection, and this was actually the scrim that you can buy that's like super expensive. But I found out you really don't need that to do that effect. But I ended up getting it on sale, so I didn't really waste a lot of money on it. The picture is horrible. I couldn't get a good shot. It looked way better in person. And this was in the very back of the cemetery, so like right behind that is my house, and there's probably about, I don't know, 4 or 5 feet between that screen and that window in the back. And so a lot of people didn't even notice it until they were like standing in the front yard looking at all the different things moving, and then they'd be like, holy crap, there's a ghost. I just saw a ghost. And then of course it wouldn't be there. So it was pretty neat this year. If I do it again, I really want to figure out a better way to do it, because
He's thinking. Just give him a minute. He's thinking.
No.
Damn, I was just relieved it wasn't me.
It was you in the beginning.
Oh no.
All right. Do you want to move to somebody else to come back?
We'll give him 2 seconds.
Darn it, we only got one picture.
That's a good one too.
Yeah.
All right, Jamie, why don't you show us a couple pictures of your hunt?
This show is cursed. This show is cursed.
Careful, because I will pull them out. Don't think I won't do it.
Hey, pull them out. We're waiting.
I don't have it on this computer. All right. Shall we move back to Jen?
Should Steve log out and log back on?
Yeah.
Because he's probably watching us right now.
Right. Steve, log out and come back on.
Using Chrome.
Using Chrome.
So we're going to Jen?
Damn. All right.
Well, I can pretend to be Steve, and you can put the pictures up, and I'll explain them.
I can ask you some questions.
One of the things that Steve made that I really, really liked was his mausoleum.
Yeah.
He did the stained glass windows on the side, and I'd never seen that before. I thought that was cool that he added that extra effect. Like there was lighting throughout the window. That was cool. We could just talk about it.
Right, we can talk about it for a couple seconds.
Yeah. Right.
Mm-hmm.
He said what happened was his whole house lost power and it came back on. That's what happened.
Huh.
Is this the picture you were talking about, Jen?
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, see how the window lights up. I thought that was so cool.
Mm-hmm.
That is really beautiful.
You know, it would have been great if he could have got something going back and forth in front of it, but he may have. I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, even if he could have explained it, that'd have been awesome. You know,
Well, let's see. It looks here like he probably.
Right. All right. We'll come back to him. Hold that picture, Jamie. We'll move on to Jen. We'll go back.
Oh well, I had her all. Wait a minute now.
All right, we'll come back to him when he comes back on. Oh no, he's back.
Here he comes.
Go back.
Dang it, I just got rid
dude, the power went off in the whole house and flickered back on.
Hey,
Wow.
Hangout's a powerful thing, bro.
Like,
They have the power for it.
Well, we were just going through and talking about your pictures ourselves.
Yeah.
Right.
We were trying to
Killer.
explain them. You got to go back, Jamie. Go back a couple.
Well, no, I did. This was the first one,
okay.
and this we talked about it. This is the second one.
Oh,
I
that's
jumped
nice.
ahead for the one that Jim.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah, that's fine.
We'll go back to that one.
So that's my Course Cauldron Creep, which was like my favorite. That's probably one of my favorite props I've ever built. So much that I actually got like a tattoo of it on my arm.
Let me see. Put it back up. Let's see.
My tattoo?
Yeah.
Ooh.
There it is.
Nice.
Very nice.
So,
Wow,
yeah,
there's so much going on in this picture.
I took
This
a
is
picture
amazing.
of the
Great
Cauldron Creep into the tattoo shop, and he drew this up, and I got it that day. It's pretty cool. But it's evolved a bit over time. It changes up a little bit. I think year before last, I put a witch mask on it, and it was a witch. So it depends on the theme, but yeah, this is like one of my favorite things because everyone just really loves it. Of course, I made the guy on the left there. I made with Monster Mud, and I did some YouTube videos on that. Made 2 of those guys, and then these skeletons. The one on the bottom left corner. That's like Groundbreaker Zombie, and the one on the right, I made those, man, probably 7-8 years ago. And the rib cage is made out of like old water hose and just plastic shrink wrap with the heat gun.
I remember doing that.
Yeah.
Old school.
Like the whole plastic corpsing, those were probably done. I think I did that plastic corpsing probably back in 2005 or 6 on those guys. And so they're pretty old. They've hung around for quite a while.
It's like the older they get, the better they look.
Yeah, I just put a new fresh paint on them every year. It's got like 20 layers of paint on it. So it's like they kind of look creepier and creepier every year.
Christopher Pressey would like to know, what is the most challenging prop you've built?
Last year was the most challenging prop, which was, so this is a crank ghost. So the most challenging was I put a big crank ghost rig in a tree last year. And so the goal was to have multiple 3 or 4 ghosts flying all up and down around the tree. And it was a pain in the ass. It broke about every hour. And I went up that ladder up and down working on it throughout the season up until Halloween, probably hundreds of times, restringing it, getting rid of knots, moving branches that fell. And it was just so frustrating. When it worked, it was cool, but it actually broke on Halloween night. It worked great for like the week before Halloween. Finally, I got it just adjusted great. And then I don't think I have a good video of it at all for the haunt video that I did. I think there's like a 4-second clip that I got on a night other than Halloween that I was able to fit in there. But it's the rig is still in the tree. I was so pissed off at it. I didn't even take it out. My wife's like, hang it on the tree, and I'm like, no, you know what? It's gonna die there.
Oh, I love this gargoyle.
Yeah. I got those. I found a couple more of those this year. Those gargoyles, I love those. A buddy of mine actually took this shot. I had I'm the marketing guy for the Texas Army National Guard. And so I have 2 graphic artists that work for me that do a lot of our ads. And one of them is, you just happened to talk about Halloween one day, and he goes, dude, I love Halloween. He started showing me all these pictures and how he does a display. So I was like, well, I never have a good photographer. So he actually came over one day or one night and got into the yard and just started taking photos. And it was like time to go to bed, and my kids was putting them to bed, and he ended up staying outside for like, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours. And I couldn't get rid of him. I'm like, hey, you don't have to take this many photos. He goes, dude, I'm having a blast. Can I hang around? I don't know how many pictures he took. I think
I'm so jealous, man. I think we're all jealous.
Well, the thing is, I didn't even get all the photos from him. I got probably 20 pictures from him. And then he lost his job.
Oh, shit. Oh, no.
And he worked for a contractor. I didn't want to lose him. Somebody's knocking. Hold on. I'm on a video chat right now, buddy. Good night. Love you. The kids are saying good night right now. They love you. I got to contact him and try to get him. I guess the files were so big he couldn't email them. So I'm gonna have to go to his house and take like a flash drive and get them put on there. But I was able to get a couple of good shots, and this is one of my really favorite ones.
Christopher Presley would like to know, where'd you find the gargoyles?
I think that one. Man, where did I find that one? That was Home Goods.
Home Goods is good.
Yeah.
They sell nice stuff.
Yeah. So this was, I actually did an actual room this year, which I haven't done in probably, man, 4 or 5 years.
Did you do a video on that?
Say again?
Did you do a video on that?
Man, I thought I videoed in there.
Steve!
I thought I videoed in there, and I could not find it. So
I'm like, I would have known if you did a room.
Well,
I would have known.
So a buddy of mine did a haunt, and it was a party haunt. It was in his garage, and he was so good at carving foam, and he did a bunch of really cool stuff. And so this room is actually made out of a bunch of really cool, detailed foam walls that this guy carved. And I tried to buy them from him like for years. I'm just like, dude, when are you gonna like let me buy your walls? Because I think he had more walls than he could use, because he would just do this in his garage every year, and it was just a party. So it was invite only, no public. And so he just got out of the military and got a job working for the VA, and was actually moving out of state. And he called me and goes, hey, dude, your wish just came true. Come get the walls. I'll sell them to you for a good price. So I got these literally, man, a week or two before Halloween. And I told my wife this year, I'm going to do a smaller haunt this year. I'm not going to do a full haunt. And then my friend called me with this. So I ended up doing a bigger one than I've probably done in like 5 or 6 years. Nice. It was pretty funny. But they had to walk through this room here. And so this guy was a motion on the left. That spider right there was one of the jumping spiders. That green light, it was a horrible picture, but that's a laser vortex. So it had the laser vortex tunnel going through there. And then at the very top, I had a big bat that was swinging and screaming at you. And nobody would go through there. Like literally every person would turn around and scream and run around the backside of the hearse and leave. Out of hundreds of people, literally like 10 people went through there. It was hilarious.
What's past this? It's another room, or is at the end?
No, it was just one little room, and they were like, they would not go in. I will say that it had a ton of fog in there, and so they
weren't sure what's going on.
Couldn't tell if it just ended in the small room or if you went into the garage, and so I think people were just like, screw that, man.
They thought once they went into the abyss, they went way into the abyss.
They'll never come out.
Yeah, but it was such a cool room. And I really, really wish I had video of it, but I looked and I can't find any.
All right, we're gonna move over to Jen and Jen's haunts, and check out some pictures.
All right.
All right.
Settle down, dog.
Take a sip of wine before you get going.
I know.
No dry mouth.
Hey, Jen, Donald Garza wants to know, did you make the tombstones behind you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're in that picture right there.
I see that.
Yeah. So, yeah, I made them. And I'd always wanted to create some more tombstones, but, you know, they're a lot of work. There's a lot of detail involved, and I tend to get really absorbed. And then I start picking it apart, and I get a little perfectionist. And I do, like Steve said, you should have seen the state of my home after I got those finished. Like, I didn't vacuum. I stopped cooking. I wasn't doing I'm like, I'll be in the garage, order a pizza. So, but they all
say that like it's a problem. What's the problem?
Well, you know, I usually try to feed them, you know, at least try to feed them.
It's hot season, you know, what do they expect?
And now the baby done threw the wrench in the whole thing.
Just throw that girl some cereal and put her in front of YouTube.
Bob Koala would like to know, do you incorporate your baby into your haunt? Like Evelyn?
No, but she's not scared. And it doesn't bother her. A lot of people were like, oh, you're going to expose your baby to that? I'm like, well, yeah, I'm gonna. So it's never been any different. She doesn't know any different. So that was my Zero tombstone, and I debated putting Christmas lights on it or not, but I've got the lights going into Zero's mouth, and then I put them inside him so he glowed. So it turned out it was a really cool effect, like he was decorating his tombstone.
Aww.
Yeah, it was cute. A little more kid-friendly.
Christopher Presley would like to know, what's the latest project you're working on?
So I've kind of gotten a little fixated on the idea of 3D tombstones, and I've done some drawings, and I started 2 paper mache pumpkins, and then behind that will be a tombstone, and behind that will be a graveyard statuary. So it's going to go from this height to that height. So it should be cool.
Yeah.
So this is my grave watcher, and I actually found him at Kmart, and I just thought he couldn't be any cooler. So I put him all the way at the top and put some lighting behind him, and he ended up looking really cool.
Oh, I was going to ask if that was the moon.
Yeah, that was the moon behind it. It turned out good.
Jerry Barb wants to know, do you wear a costume yourself?
I try to. I usually dress up as a witch if I have time, and I try to make more time for it than I used to. But usually I was so busy running around that I didn't have time to do anything. But now that I've been doing it for quite a while, I'm way more prepared than I used to be.
She also wants to know if you use actors.
Nope, because nobody in California works for free. That is the truth. No help. So I had, I shouldn't say that. I caught this woman taking pictures of my house one day. And I didn't know who she was, but she had a really nice camera. And then my coworker said, hey, my friend put up really nice pictures of your Halloween on Facebook. And then she got me copies. She took beautiful pictures. And I put the spiders in there and the Spanish moth. It ended up looking really good.
Very nice.
I'm sorry.
It's a nice picture to show all your lighting going on.
Well, and we had a great moon that night, and the sky was perfect. And, you know, it was funny because we had all those fires, and the sky was just orange and yellow. But by then it had started to blow somewhere else, and it was looking better.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it was so bad you couldn't go outside, and I decorated it anyways with a mask on, and my lungs weren't right for about a month and a half, even though I had the mask on.
Hey, that's why I think everybody should move to Michigan, because we don't have any of that stuff.
That's right. Yes.
We were on fire, baby.
Yeah, mild, cold winters. The Canadians would be mild. So it's perfect for everybody to move here.
We'd be in shorts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Linda Marshall would like to know, any sound effects, music, fog?
So behind that skeleton, we have a 6-foot female character that holds a globe, and she does a whole show. Okay. And she came with all of the audio and all of the lighting, and once it's going, it's all run by a CD, and it triggers the lighting and the different thunder, and she does a whole show. And then at the end of the show, she bursts into flame and starts screaming. And then she turns into a skeleton.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it is really cool. And she worked really well last year until about the end. It started getting cold and the CD started skipping. And I don't know how I would keep it warm, you know, like it was getting frost on the CD or something.
Holy cow.
What is your cold? What is your cold?
Oh, well, that's just the thing. You
Drop
know,
below
it
60?
gets in the 60s and we're all looking for a sweater.
On that note,
Yeah.
we're moving on that note.
California, baby.
We're moving on to Laurence. We're going to show some of the pictures that he has.
Maybe. I'm thinking about it. Here we go. All right.
That's the market we had. So we had 3 actors in there, and they're, you know, trying to sell stuff to the people as they walk by, and they were arguing with each other. It was actually a really good atmosphere. Catcalling each other, just witches, hags.
Are those leaves on the ground?
Yeah, I had a buddy brought over a bunch of bags, and we just laid them out.
Nice.
It's a
Yeah,
neat
it was
picture.
good vibe.
And then could you go in the shack? What's in the back?
Oh, that's the back.
Is that what we saw?
Yeah, you come out there after you're through the witch house.
Nice.
So you go through the witch house, and then there's a really dark tunnel in the back, and then you come through that.
So how big is your haunt?
It's about 2,500 square feet, I think. You got the front and the back, and both sides.
huge.
It's pretty big.
That's a nice size.
Yeah. There's a shot of the market coming from that doorway that we just saw.
Oh, wow.
That's neat.
Oh,
That's
nice
cool.
setup.
Are those pumpkins or real pumpkins?
Uh,
Jack-o'-lanterns.
oh, that's I got that from Walmart years ago. Those 4 right there. That's Funkins, and then there's one in the basket there too.
See, that's,
I like that oil lamp. That's very pretty.
And all those jars and stuff, we made all those. A lot of the stuff there.
Any problems with theft or vandalism? Mickey Tyler would like to know.
No, not yet. I think we've been pretty lucky.
Knock on wood.
Yeah.
And is there sheeting behind the pallets and then the lighting is from the display outside?
No, that lighting is from inside the purple inside the witch house. So,
right. I was
yeah,
going to say that's where the green light's coming from the other side.
on the other side.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
And then we
That's
just had-
that's awesome.
we
Yeah,
ran
that's
some
cool.
burlap. Just to separate it a little bit, we ran some burlap in between the pallets there.
Oh, what a great idea.
What's
Yeah.
the best scare in your haunt? Sammy Overstreet would like to know.
Last year,
Better say your wife.
I was just gonna say maybe your wife.
the best scare is always my wife.
Yeah. Good
answer,
answer.
good
Good answer.
Yeah, I'm sticking to that for sure.
Yeah.
Man, I love all the detail in it, you know, that you put into it. It's like, man, that's nice. I mean,
Yeah,
it really puts people, you know, in the scene when they walk in and see all the details.
Yeah,
And the
absolutely.
little dolls are creepy.
Our goal is to, you know, they walk through your yard, and as soon as they start walking through, I just want them to forget that they're in somebody's yard.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
like, we do lots
It's
of stuff.
working.
If one person sees it, then it's worth doing.
And did you say how long it takes you to set up for that?
About 2 months steady to set things up.
Damn.
We're working on it.
Mike's like, bullshit.
And he's doing his in one night. Jeez, I couldn't imagine.
I think I have that jack-o'-lantern on the top there. Did that come with a light in it? And it was connected to a fog machine?
Yes, it did.
See? I got the
It did,
same
and I never
one.
used it.
Yeah, look at
Never
you.
used it, but I did put lights
It
in it.
was a great effect. He was cool.
Yeah. And that's part of the market as well. So we wanted the wheel. The wheel's supposed to turn, but it warped a little bit because it was outside. So we had a guy who was turning the wheel, and it lights up underneath, and we were handing out beef jerky. Skinning the guy that's turning on the wheel and
Oh, neat.
giving away jerky.
Damn it,
Oh, that's
just for the
awesome.
jerky. Yeah.
I love that cart. Now,
Yeah.
did you say is that cart something that you made or something that you bought?
That's something that I got from Jason. So in the summertime, I fill it with flowers. Actually, it's pretty good. It's in our yard all year.
Dual purpose.
I
Yeah.
so wish I was closer to Jason, man. Damn it.
I know.
Yeah,
That's nice.
Oh, this is a nice picture.
yeah, and that's coming through past the market, through the cemetery, and then we built the Horseman's Bridge, and we had the headless horseman in that bridge.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was dark. And
So did you make these columns?
Those? No, actually, I got those too.
Stop.
Those were given to me too. Yeah.
Shit, I need some
I
friends.
do actually make things, but
I love that wheel that the guy is stuck to.
yeah, that was the beef jerky.
How long does it take to walk through your hunt?
It takes close to 10 minutes.
So is that your wife straight back in the center?
Yeah, she's talking to the headless horseman there.
Oh, I see her now.
Yeah,
Nice.
she's under the window.
Holy cow. Suddenly everything just looks really big now that I have that perspective.
Yeah.
Corey Northrup would like to know, do you have fog?
Yeah, we do. We had 7 fog machines for half the night, and 2 of them cut out.
Music too?
Yeah, music. Yeah, and different areas had different sounds. Some were running a sound effect. We had one picture where my wife's on a bridge. It was like a swamp. You had to go over the bridge to get to her house. And we had swamp sounds and crickets and a lot of fog there.
You have like a lot of kid stuff in there, kid sounds?
Yeah, we had actually in the witch house, the back hallway, we had one teddy bear that kind of giggles. So it was like a really creepy laugh. So when it was dark and then my wife would squeeze the hand on it and kids would run through there, they got so scared.
That's awesome.
Nice. That is awesome. I mean, I remember watching a video and it was like there's some kids chanting.
Yeah.
Dude, that's the creepiest shit I ever heard. And I was I mean, is that going on through the haunt or was that just for the video?
That was in the video, but we have that in the back as well.
Right. I was like, oh my God. I was watching your video and I was like, that is some creepy shit right there. So, I mean, if anybody wants to go see everybody's videos, it's in the link in the descriptions on the YouTube channel, and it's pretty creepy. You guys need to go back and watch everybody's stuff. But thanks, Laurence. We're going to move on to Mike and go through some of his pictures.
Yeah, that's one of the zombie corpses that I created a couple years ago. It was just a Costco skeleton. Did the standard drop cloth corpsing, and then I gave it a little voodoo face paint just to differentiate it from all the rest of the stuff in the yard. And as you walk up the driveway, you actually take a left and walk across the front of my house, and that's right before you actually walk up into my front porch. I don't have a standard front door. I actually have a screened-in porch, and then the front door is in there. And just to the left of the steps before you walk up is where I just set up another couple bunches of corn stalks and just kind of had him hidden in there. Of course, the batteries and the lantern died before I had a chance to take the picture, but
dude,
It's nice.
That is sweet.
It looks scary.
I love how you did the voodoo thing. That's awesome looking.
It was the same face treatment I did on the previous photo on the other side, where the one was in the wooden coffin. So there was 2.
That one?
Yeah, that guy.
Scan has completed.
Courtney would like to know, where do you get all your inspiration for all your builds?
Hunter's Hangout, of course.
Good answer. Good answer.
From huntershangout.org.
That's right.
Yes.
Repping.
Over 1,000 different videos and tutorials.
That's right. You know, man.
Yeah, you know, I'm open to everything for inspiration. You know, it's pro haunts, it's other home haunters, it's horror films. It's music even. You know, I take inspiration from, you know, even listening to music can get a mental picture going. So just
sure
everywhere.
Robert Smith would like to know, funny or serious tombstone inscriptions?
Serious. Yeah, a few of them, like the ones actually behind me right now. This guy right here is actually Bela Lugosi. And then the one over my shoulder here is actually Boris Karloff.
Lots of comments on the tombstones behind you.
Yeah, that's the focus every year is
Nate
I want to
Damon,
make sure they're detailed.
what do you use for carving your tombstones?
Dremel. Yeah, I use all the blue foam now, and I actually saw a great video from Ant Patron where he actually prints out the epitaph to scale, and then just uses a repositionable glue stick and plops it right on, and you can carve. You know, you don't have to worry. I used to actually cut out the letters and make a template and kind of trace it, and this just cut the time in half, so you can, you know, whip out the tombstones a lot quicker.
Oh, nice.
So this is actually inside my front porch. When you walk in, I made it a 3-walled walk-in crypt. And on the left side and the right side, I made 2 burial chambers. And I made it 2 couples. And everyone in there is part of the Highbury family. And then on the back, okay, yeah, the back is the stained glass window, which we'll see in a second. But this is on the right side, just a few LED pin lights. And then I have some LED pin lights going through the eyes of the epitaph and the skull at the top.
Oh,
That's really cool.
That's cool.
And then the bodies were just Home Depot skeletons with the light up red eyes, and I corpsed them and then, you know, gave them full clothing.
I can see Laurence trying to, like, you want to give them up, bro?
yeah. Shipping to Canada is. This is actually on the left side. This is the groom, which was the top chamber. Same thing. I just used some purple UV spotlight LED, like the pin lights, to light up the face, and then the red eyes from the skeleton with some corpsing and some clothing, and then a few more of my candle lights.
And those walls, did you say those are foam?
Yeah, I actually, all 3 are separate pieces, and then top and bottom, so it all comes apart and we can pull it out through the door. And then it's a wooden frame, and then I just faced it with foam and carved it and painted it.
It looks really good.
That's very cool.
This is from the sidewalk looking up. This is just a view across my front yard.
Jeez.
Lucked out with the moon.
That looks so nice.
Our neighborhood as well.
None of my pictures ever turn out this way.
Yeah.
And then if you look, you can see like that orange glow throughout. That's actually one of the street lights we have too. We've got like classic style street lights all the way down, and they're really bright. So there was no way of getting around it. So I just incorporated that as like a base color throughout the cemetery. But then we also have old growth oak trees all down the street. So, you know, we've got a nice canopy going down, and it really makes some nice highlight and shadow areas as you're walking down the sidewalk.
Yeah. I see you guys all have like the perfect sky for all your haunts and shit. What the hell, man?
Yeah. The
moon shining through.
Yeah. Yeah, in Ohio, we don't have any forest fires going, so it's
you don't get the red amber. You get everything else.
Mm-hmm. That's a good picture.
That's a great picture.
And then we have a talking skull in the bottom right there. And I just did like a 60-second voiceover, and he talks it, and it just repeats all night, telling people about coming into the cemetery. Yeah.
Wow.
And your fence, did you use 2x4s or 1x2s?
I think that's a 1x2. Actually, if you look, there's actually different pieces. On the very far right were the pieces that I created, and then I was gifted the rest of the fencing from a good friend. Yeah, so I just incorporated that in, but it's similar. It's just the 1x2, and then you just drill it out with PVC pieces going through.
Nice.
Very cool.
And then the jack-o'-lantern.
Yeah, just one of the 18 that we carved this year.
And you're using the pumpkins, or?
No, those are real. Those are real pumpkins. Yeah.
Oh, wow, it's so shiny.
Shiny.
Yeah.
You polish that sucker
I
up.
want to know how you set your haunt up in 2 hours.
Yeah.
And then have time to carve pumpkins too.
Well, we carve the pumpkins. Yeah, we carve the pumpkins a couple days before, and we make sure that's all done. And then the weekend before Halloween, whatever that weekend is before, we'll actually go in and set up the pieces, parts, and the walk-in crypt, and then just keep the door locked and the lights off. So we cheat a little bit.
How much help do you have when you set up in that one day?
Depends on the year. Usually there's anywhere between 3, 4, 5, maybe even 6 people come over and help. And then
That must be nice.
yeah, it's family and friends, which is cool. My mom and my aunt both come over at the crack of dawn, and they are the first ones there to start helping, and they're the last ones to leave after we tear everything down. So I really got to give them their props. They really, you know, they're getting older, but they still love it, so it's cool.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
And then the neighbors, and we have a bunch of friends that come over, so
cool.
They keep coming back because we pay them in food, beer, and then every year, everyone
I'd be there with beer.
Yeah, everyone that helped.
Rum would make me work harder, but
yeah, right, for a while. But then, as a thank you for everyone, every year I actually do a silkscreen T-shirt like this one here. So you come over and you help out, and you get a free shirt. Cool. Yeah. So it's just, you know, something I create, and then I just do a silkscreen in my basement, just a one color, and hand them out to everybody. So
that's awesome. All right, we're gonna move on to Steve. We're gonna talk about Steve-O. Steve-O. Oh, and he's got his new hearse.
Mod.
All right, so that was a video projection that I did, and then the back window of the hearse this year, which everybody really loved. So to the left of the hearse is that room I built. You can see those walls there. So like I was saying, so on the right side of this hearse, that's where you would come into the yard. My cemetery is just to the right of that. And that archway with the skeleton on the right-hand side, that's my front door. So they would go towards the front door and walk in front of the hearse, and then that would be the entrance to that room. And then they would come out in that doorway you see to the left of the hearse. But like I said, nobody really would go through there. They would just run back out and come back out when they came in. It's like, hello, it's right there. You see the exit, but I mean, who knows why?
Yeah, and now, you need an actor to push them through, man. That's what you need.
Yeah.
You and Julie just moved into this neighborhood. So what did your neighbors think about the scary people that moved in?
They like it. This is the 3rd year. This will be the 4th year this year, in this neighborhood. So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of, you know, not a lot of people talk to each other. You know, it's just kind of like everybody's like, oh, this is cool. But yeah, I don't have a lot of help. There's, like I said, a couple kids that want to help every now and then. But as far as like, you know, people coming over and neighbors wanting to help out, I don't really get a lot of that. So, but yeah, everybody likes it. They actually did a contest this year or last year. They've always done a Christmas one, but now they do a Halloween one. And supposedly I won. And they were supposed to bring me a certificate and then never showed up.
Damn it.
For free jelly?
Right.
Who knows why?
So you got a projector up there for the lightning? Is that what that is?
So that was a lightning projector that I think it was Big Lots had this year. And man, it was the coolest thing ever. And so that's
cool.
The lightning flashing up onto the house, and it would flash in 2 or 3 different locations. And it even had the sound and everything. And man, it was really cool. And I think they were only like $20 or something.
That looks cool.
Just go to show you, you know?
Yeah, it was a cool effect. Everybody's like, whoa, there's lightning on the house. So, and of course, all I did was buy that and plug it in. So.
And did it have any sound?
It did.
Did you do sound? Yeah.
Yep, it had sound and everything. So, pretty cool thing.
Linda Marshall would like to know, what projectum system did you use? Like, what other projection system did you use?
Well, the projections were all those small mini projectors that kind of became real famous this year.
Okay.
Matter of fact, I just got one of those on Amazon.
I did too. I bought that one too. I was like, hell with it.
They're a good deal now. They used to be a lot of money.
Yeah, pretty cool. So, but just the small projectors that just you put your you know, whatever you're going to project onto a flash drive, and you stick it in and play it, and which is cool because I used to have the old PowerPoint projectors with a DVD player and all that crap. And so I got rid of every bit of that, and now I just have those little mini projectors, and they are awesome. They're plug and play, and they're so much easier to use. So they're definitely worth it.
Right. I keep telling my wife, I was like, honey, I bought this because it has the seed stuff on it. You know, it's for that season, but it happens to have hunt stuff on it too. So I'm gonna use it during the hunt season too.
Yeah, well, they have everything on there. I actually used it at the we have to drink if I say the C word, but I used it during the ski season, and then I even used it on like 4th of July. It's got like 7 different holidays.
Yeah, it's all of it on there. Yeah, I bought some of it too.
So this is that room that I did this year, and those walls were carved by a buddy of mine named James, and they're super awesome. I mean, you could even, like on that right wall where that window is, you can see above that's this really intricate, detailed skull work that he did. And if you look in the doorway on the left-hand side, there's another window in there, and he did it. It's double-sided. So, I mean, it's detailed on the outside and on the inside. It's ridiculous.
Wow. I bet that took forever.
Yeah, and he would just work on it all the time. And so he didn't give it to me, unfortunately, but I got it for a pretty good price. I think I paid him like $20 a panel.
Holy cow. That's like
right.
So,
and you know what? That was a great price because that was easy, like 8 to 10 hours a panel.
Yeah. Now the doorway, I think I paid him $50 for that. Altogether, I think I paid him like $200 maybe.
Wow.
Maybe you can ship that up here.
Yeah. He's accepting free things.
I'll give you $250.
Yeah. I'm actually going to do Headless Horseman theme this year. And so I'm thinking about turning this into a little small church.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Miles Michael wants me to ask you to talk about your lighting because it looks great.
You know, a lot of the lighting that people like this right here, that blue, is really it's funny. It's those stupid spiral bulbs, party bulbs. They're not really made for outdoors, so the downside is a little moisture, and they explode, and then you have to replace them. So all of my older haunt had those, pretty much all party bulbs, orange and blue and red and green. I got so tired of replacing them. It gave a great effect. I got so tired of replacing them. All this lighting that you see this year is LED RGB floods from Amazon.
I did get a bunch of them too.
and now the purple hue that you see right there, that's like a 50-watt LED blacklight. So, and that was shine on the ghosts, the ones that were supposed to float on the crank ghost mechanism. But it still gave everything a really cool glow. But yeah, I replaced everything with LED this year off of Amazon. I just bought like a few each couple of months. Now I have a ton of them, and you can find really good prices on Amazon for the LED stuff. And it's neat because you can change your lighting. I used to always unplug it, switch my lighting out, try a different color, and I'd do that like until I went insane. Mm-hmm. Now I just push a button and change the light. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, they had like a bunch of big sales on the Hangout with the square LED, spots that were like really cool, man. I think I bought like probably like 10 of them or something.
Yeah, this guy's pneumatic too. He actually jumps at you and his head almost comes through the fence post there.
Oh no shit. That's awesome.
And you built that?
Yep, I even welded the frame, everything.
Wow, shit. I need a video.
Corey Northwood would like to know, what would be your advice to a new haunter?
Don't expect your haunt to look like what you're looking at right now in the first year. It's kind of a developed skill over time. I mean, when you first start, you start learning how to do detail. Try to focus on your base, to get your bones in place, like what do you want your theme to be? And then just build on it from there. I mean, my first year haunting, it didn't look like at all like what you're seeing now. So this is years of me adding detail after detail after detail. And, you know, it took me time to get here. So I know a lot of people are like, man, I want it to be like that right now. You know, I guess it could be if you did it 24/7 and didn't have a job or anything. But, you know, take your time, and it's fun to make new things every year. So build a couple of new props each year and you'll get there. So.
Yes.
Well said.
Yes.
So this is a really good shot of the whole yard. This is the first year that I did this fencing on both sides of the sidewalk. I didn't realize how cool of an effect this would be in terms of people being freaked out to go in front of the yard. This is something I'll probably do every year because it kind of added like another layer or another element. So normally people are in front of your yard, they'll go up to the fence, they look at it, they're not scared because a lot of these things in the front of my haunt move and
they have nowhere to go.
And then there's nowhere to go. You're still trapped. And so it was just cool watching people scared to go in between there. And when they did, they would like run through there real fast. It was pretty hilarious. And it just gave it another really cool depth, you know. It kind of became a good photo op. A lot of people would stand on the outside of that fence and take photos and stuff. But
moving, did you end up with a bigger yard or a smaller yard? Did everything fit?
Man, it's probably about the same size, if not a little smaller. That my yard's pretty tiny. If you look at the hearse, that thing's about like 20 feet long. So my yard's like, I don't know, maybe 30 by 40 feet. So not a whole lot of space to work with, but I cram it in there pretty good.
Mary Fentner would like to know, what's the oldest prop that you refuse to get rid of?
Oh man. Golly. Probably my cauldron creep. He breaks every year and I keep fixing him. I don't know if I'll ever throw that thing away. I don't know if everyone remembers my tombstone sitter, the guy that was still on the tombstone that had the lantern and he would go left and right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Went in the trash.
Oh shit.
I cried. I literally cried, actually, I think.
You couldn't make him like a groundbreaker or something?
It just got so jacked up. I had rats get in the shed and they chewed that guy down to nothing.
There's rats in the corn.
Yeah.
Here's a really good example of the lighting that you do.
Yeah.
Oh, this is beautiful.
Yeah, this is a new prop that I did at a make and take right before last Halloween over at Donna Mary's at Goth Glooms. This is what I worked on at their make and take. And, you know, kind of something I've wanted to do for years and years. I've had the crypt forever. And then, of course, Davis Graveyard made a beautiful one of these. And so that's my version of it. The arms and the legs are my wife. I taped her up. Yeah.
Did you give her nipples?
That was a mannequin. That's a mannequin.
With nipples.
Female wig.
I think that's the new drinking word, isn't it? Was balls, now it's nipples.
He's got nipples.
The only downside was it was so heavy that, you know, my tombstone, my crypt lid did, you know, slide open and close. I couldn't get it to work this year because of the weight. So I'll have to rebuild that mechanism to be able to withstand the weight of the new part of the prop. So
very cool.
Very pretty.
Cool.
Beautiful picture.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're gonna move on over to Jen and go through some more pictures. We probably got 5 more pictures for everybody, and then we'll go on to the prizes.
Oh, you act like you're expecting me to show you something. Here you go.
All right, so this is just my Halloween working on Halloween night, and the night was beautiful, and people bring out their dogs, and usually they dress them up, and there's a line out to the door, and I had the hearse lit up inside the garage, and I've always wanted to do some kind of scene in there, and I bought the horse from the Home Depot. Everyone did, except for Steve. Steve did not buy his horse from the company. But
My
I
wife
did.
bought me a real horse, and I articulated it.
Don't mess with Steve. He's thinking it first, and he's doing it better. So I bought the horse, and I put a kid skeleton on it, and put some lighting in there. And I had a ghost projection in the middle of several ghosts dancing and flying by. And then I had a ghost projection inside the hearse window of ghosts beating on the glass, trying to get out. And then I had I think they call her Madame Sonia, and she's over in the corner doing her thing. But I am veering away from spirits as well, because I don't know how to work the animatronics once they break. And they're very expensive, and they do work for a certain amount of time very well, but then once they're broken, it's an end investment. And now the projection, they've gotten so cheap. If you can get a cheap one and a good CD, you can really save some money. So there's the horse with my little kid on there. And then I've got another skeleton, hanging out on top. But I was glad that I was able to do a little more with it this year, because, it wasn't very interactive before. Now people can kind of go in the garage. And I covered all that with black trash. The huge, it's probably like black wood fabric or something.
I love the little guy sitting on his back. That's cute.
Yeah, I was trying to make it a little more kid-friendly, and I think it turned out nice, being that there's scary ghosts trying to beat themselves out the window. Thought it was a little more kid-friendly. So, yeah, it was cool. Well, and I had to show my baby, right? That was the thing that I made.
First.
That was the thing that I made that people were like, wow, this girl does
you on the map. Yeah.
Yeah, because my husband's like, what'd you cut the wheels out? I'm like, hey, we got a jigsaw. Did you know we had a jigsaw? And who knew, right? He's always got all that shit in the garage, and I didn't know
how to make shit.
I was gonna make some shit. So I read the directions on the back. I'm like, I can make myself a fucking wheel. I'm gonna do it. So and you know what's funny? Me and a bottle of wine made those wheels. And they're still out there holding up that hearse right now.
So this has to be like your favorite prop you've made.
It is. And over the years, I try to animate it a little more. And it's just one of those things, when you make everything with such detail, it's just irritating that people can't really get a look. Like the backsplash, I did make that out of foam. But it's so detailed and intricate. And then each line I painted with the silver glitter pen. I said glitter. Raina.
Rainia.
Rainia. I said glitter. But it's all lit up, and the side lighting flickers, and the back's lit up, and it's fully functional. I could never make it again. I just really was determined that I could do this, and I don't even know if I could make it that well again, because there was a lot of pressure on me. And I kind of felt like I was the new Hunter, and then people were showing up, asking me questions, and I was like, I don't fucking know. I read the directions on the back of the box. And then I didn't have any plans, because I built it all in my head and just honestly looked at hearses on the internet for a year. And then finally, Evil Bob gave me a couple pictures of the undercarriage. And I did do a video on that where I was trying to figure out what I was looking at, and I was thankful for the pictures. That was about all he gave me. So I figured out that the bottom was a lawn chair swivel, and then your wheels will go back and forth. But I kind of had to build it in my head. So it ended up 9 foot long, 6 foot tall, and it's fully functional. And I did do the pop-out window, which I was proud of, because, that was a lot of work, getting that window to pop out.
Courtney wants to know, how long did it take you to build it?
It took me 6 months.
Wow.
Damn.
Yeah, and it was $1,200.
The video was like a week.
Wow, really?
Videos are like a week. This Jen from Jen's Haunts.
I know.
Only took her a week.
Every Monday, I'd be like, "Hi, this is Jen's Haunts." I used the thingy.
It only took her a week.
I cut out the thingy.
Does
yeah,
that break?
Kind of funny.
Does that break down at all for storage?
Jen doesn't make anything that breaks down because that's too much work.
No.
So it is in the garage, and my whole garage is Halloween and that other holiday that my husband seems to like.
We don't know why.
I don't know why. But and here's my tree. I was really proud of my tree. It turned out 10 foot, and I was really happy with how that turned out.
Yeah,
And it's holding up to the weather because I really sealed it up good with the black trash bags and the heat gun. And then I just dry brushed it. And the base is wood, so it's heavy. And, there's PVC in the very middle, chicken wire, and then the heat gun with the trash bags. I thought it turned out good.
Yeah, you made it sound real simple. He's like, it's just trash bag. There's like heat guns, and there's like PVC, chicken wire, wood. So you kept on going.
I'm not gonna lie to you. That shit was easy.
She's like,
I made that fucker in 8 days.
Rebar and scaffolding.
You know what? Don't be a baby. Just put a Band-Aid on the broken nail and make the fucking prop.
Right? True that.
So this is the tombstone that's behind me, and I was proud that I was able to do this spider web. I don't have a lot of patience, and I did do that with a heat tool, and it turned out really good. But I had to do it in different pieces because I did the 2 pieces of foam together of the cross, but then this webbing was just 1 piece that I had to fit together. So I thought it turned out good.
Oh, I love this.
You say you didn't have a lot of patience?
Yeah, Jen doesn't like to wait. I want it done right now, and then I want to make a video. So I had to be careful because if I didn't cut it just right, the heat tool was hot, and of course then I'd break the webbing and it would be not right. So I had to be really careful. But I was really happy with all the pieces that I made last year because that was growth for me, that I took my time and made it correctly.
Right. And you can see all of Jen's stuff right on her YouTube channel.
Yes.
Tell it.
I'm going to tell you about it.
I'm going
to tell you. I'm going to tell you how to make it. I'm going to tell you where I bought it. And I'm going to show you my heat gun like 15 times.
That's right. You go to YouTube, Jen's Haunts.
There you go. I'm making some shit over here.
Mm-hmm. And you can go to in the descriptions, and it's right there. You go check it out.
It's all there.
She's been haunted from way back in the day.
Oh. Yes. I'm telling you what. I'm an old chick now, trying to be scary. When I started, I was a lot younger, and it was honestly easier.
Right.
No, weren't we all?
10 years ago, it was a lot easier to lift that. I used to lift that hearse because I used to, weightlift. I used to lift that sucker and move it over. Good Lord, I'd end up in the emergency room now.
Haunting ain't easy.
Not for sissies.
All right, we're moving over to Laurence, man. We're going to finish off his pick, see what he's got going on. Woo!
That's in the front when they came in. And if you look close, you can see my neighbor put up Christmas lights the day I was setting up and opening.
No, he said the C
Oh,
word.
wow.
No.
Well, I did say it, but it was a race to get those up before we opened, and I'm not really sure why. It was something. So they're coming in. We wanted to make a lot of growth on the front of the house, so we set up vines. We hung vines and everything on the front.
And tell me about that seat there. Did you make that or did you buy that?
No, that's concrete. My wife found that somebody was giving it away, so we went.
Why did you get all the free stuff?
They were selling it, and then they just ended up giving it to us.
Wow, that's so nice.
Yeah, it's really cool. Now we got ivy growing on it, so it clings. So it should, hopefully this year it'll be covered.
Nice. It's really pretty. And did you make the gravestone?
One of them I did, and one was from Grant.
I'm looking at the one on my left.
On the left, yeah, Grant made that.
It's very pretty. Very nice. And you've got a ground breaker on the bottom?
Yeah, he's crawling out and reaching when people.
So he moves. Does he move or no?
Yeah, he moved. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Very cool.
Yes.
Oh, this is a great picture.
Yeah, that's a side view there of when they come in. And then on the side, on the right-hand side, you can see the backside of the Horseman's Tunnel or the Horseman Bridge.
Oh, I love that Reaper, man. Oh, my God.
Right. That's
cool.
amazing.
Yeah, he's tall on that column for sure.
Just this picture is neat.
And
we got that big spider on the top too. That's the Home Depot spider on the top of the roof.
No, hey, don't tell me someone gave you the Reaper.
Okay, I won't tell you that.
No! Shut up!
What are you, like the luckiest hunter alive or something?
I just might be. I have some really good friends.
Dude, you must be the nicest dude, and we're gonna have to party, bro.
It's all in the smile.
We're gonna have to party because you gotta be cool as hell.
You must be a very nice person.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Lots of smiles.
That's nice.
And this was Halloween night and it was raining?
Oh yeah, it rained really hard actually for a while. People were soaked. And their feet too. There was, some areas where water collected and stuff, and I was starting to get a little bit concerned someone was going to slip, but we made it through. And then it started snowing the next day, so everything froze.
Oh,
well, and they know, so they have the right gear.
Yeah. Oh, and that's the bridge they crossed to get over the swamp, and that's my wife there.
Wow. Very cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, there's lots of fog and ambient sounds, crickets and frogs.
So they cross that and they end up at the front of your haunt?
No, they cross that. That's halfway through the yard. They cross that to get into the witch's shack.
Oh, okay. If she lets them by.
If she lets them by, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I wouldn't walk by her.
No, she's scary.
Dude, she got a lot of people with that. Like, she just stood there, pretend like she's just a prop, and everybody was so like, that's just a prop, and then she's like, shabow.
Yeah, she scared a lot of people like that for sure. A lot of people would just stand there and stare at her. They didn't know if they should go forward or do I go around? What do I do?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So
I blame her for that.
Yeah, she's creepy for sure.
She is great.
So ultimately, they need to pass her, right? They need to cross that bridge.
They need to cross that bridge, yeah. If she was on the bridge, then it took a little while for people to build up the courage to get up there.
I can't figure out why.
That's a lot of corn stalks you got up there too. Did you?
Yeah.
Is there corn stalks in Canada?
There is corn stalks. And that's the reverse side of the front entry there. So the corn we were just looking at that's what's red and orange there. And that's inside the witch shack, looking out the front door.
Different lighting.
Everybody has like awesome lighting. I think like lighting's like a big part of the haunt too. It's just getting it just right.
Yeah. We try and layer it so everything gets a lot of depth.
I've got a question about your wife. Was she into haunting before she met you, or did it grow on her?
She's kind of not totally into haunting now. She just, when she puts on the makeup and gets into it then.
She's probably a good actor.
She's a very good actor, actually. We have a video on there of her. She's really good. She's tolerant because I'm talking about Halloween all the time, and she gets into it once it's close.
I have no idea what you mean.
Yeah, me and my wife made a bet. We made a bet, and it's like one of the bets was like, you don't talk Halloween for a whole month, and I was like, you have to help me for Halloween for a month. We're waiting for that bet to come through. I'm hoping I'm winning.
About 3 weeks before Halloween, she starts to get excited about it.
How could she not? Jesus, with all the stuff you got.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I think this is the last picture we have from you.
Yeah,
I like
that was
this
in
one.
the market. So we had a witch standing in front of there, and she's trying to sell her wares to the people as they go by.
Very nice.
It's very cool. Looks awesome. Great haunt. All right, we're gonna move over to Mike and finish up his pictures.
All right.
Okay, we're gonna move over to Mike. And
Don't start with me, man.
I know, right?
I can walk out, you know.
Come on, Phil. So this is actually the back wall of my walk-in crypt. And this shot was actually last summer. I brought it out and I was actually adjusting the dimensions of the walls. And I added a bunch of the moss and just kind of grime to the walls. But in the middle is my stained glass window. And I actually created that artwork, had it printed out on some clear adhesive and then put it on a piece of plexiglass. And that is actually backlit too. So when you walk up into the front porch, that's where the kids go to get their candy. This will be the first thing you see. It's the back wall. And then I actually have a port underneath because I have all my audio and then a fog machine behind the wall. And the port actually just, you know, dribbles the fog out. So it was kind of a cool effect.
That's a beautiful piece. I didn't know that you could have that done and then put it was like a sticker after they made it for you?
Yeah, I created the art in Adobe Illustrator to scale and then sent out to an industrial printer and they printed it on a clear adhesive. And then you peel the back off and it's a big sticker and you just, you know, flatten it across the plexiglass. And then I just bolted the frame to it and then trimmed it out. And then it just sits in the framework.
That just goes to show what all the hunters, what they go to, the extreme they go to make stuff look right. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then with the backlighting, it looks real cool because it's like one of the only things that lights up in the entire room.
But they don't do that for the sea stuff.
No, they don't. This was one of the tombstones that I did that it's actually supposed to kind of be me and my wife. And then our skeletons are there in the front. But I actually ran just some spotlight LEDs with a 9-volt battery through the back of the skull so the eyes light up.
Oh, very cool. I love that.
What is it about your pumpkins that they just look so is it extra lighting inside or what is it about them?
I think it's just a candlelight in there, but I think it's just the camera that I use and the settings that I use. It picks up the intensity of the light a little bit more.
It really does, yeah.
Because it's just a regular pumpkin carved, and then it's just got a candlelight inside of it. So, and then this is actually the gate arch that I created. You walk under the sign here to go up the driveway, and then up to the crypt.
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Beautiful.
Yeah, the frame is just particle board that I cut out 1/2 inch, and then the letters are all foam. And I have a little handheld battery-operated jigsaw, and it's probably one of my favorite tools because it's so light, and you can really just get into those corners and move it around. So I was able to trim out each letter.
That's awesome.
And then just a mix of flat black, flat brown, and a spattering of orange spray paints to make the rusted effect.
Very good.
The sides were 2x2. You attached them to your pillars.
They're actually PVC. The columns have like a flat piece on either side, and the posts actually go in, so they hold up, and then the sign actually slides over those.
All right.
So this photo, this was actually taken the weekend after Halloween. I was sitting there, and I had all these 18 jack-o'-lanterns that we had carved, and I said, in previous years, we just kind of threw them in the garbage, wanted to do something fun, more towards the mischievous side. And at the time, I wanted to do something for the Great Pumpkin Project, but I didn't have any time or extra pumpkins to do it. So I said, well, maybe I'll do something now. And I just came up with the idea of, instead of taking the pumpkins and throwing them out, I was going to take them somewhere and leave them. So we have a Metro Park just down the road. And I got up on the early Saturday and cleaned these all out, took all the wax and everything out. So it was just the pumpkins, shoved them all in my car, drove down to the Metro Parks. Luckily, there was nobody in this parking area. And there's just this little creek down the one corner. So one at a time, I went up and placed all these things. And I had my camera. So the last pumpkin I put up, I went down, grabbed my camera and took a couple pictures, took a picture with my phone, went into the car, and I was, sending a picture to my brother saying, hey, look at this little thing that I did. All of a sudden, I hear this screaming. And I look up, and here comes a car with these two younger girls. They pull up right next to me, jumping out of the car with their phones, taking pictures of this stuff. I was like, wow, that was quick. So I went to send another message to my brother. I was like, you're not going to believe this. These two girls are already here taking all these pictures, going crazy. As I look up, here comes another car. Two older women come out. They're doing this thing now with taking pictures. I was like, wow, like I really did this timing pretty well. So I got in the car, and as I pulled out of the Metro Parks, in comes a park ranger.
Oh no!
Gave him a wave. He waved. He didn't. So I took off, and that stuff stayed in the park for 3 weeks because I was able to go back and kind of sneak a peek just to see. So it turned out, we added a little.
It's like the Halloween Blair Witch.
Yeah, it's kind of like the artist Banksy. No one knows. It just shows up and everyone enjoys it. It's just some mischievous fun. So I think from now on, I'm gonna kind of do that just to bring the Halloween season to a little bit extended by a day or two.
Yeah.
So
I saw that post. I thought that was
People will
awesome.
wait and look for those jack-o'-lanterns now.
Yeah, and it's
You're stuck with
a lot of people seem to enjoy it. So hopefully, maybe we can inspire some other haunters to do it because it's it's harmless fun and it's cool. Set it up and all of a sudden there's a bunch of jack-o'-lanterns.
Biodegradable.
Yep.
That's right.
And you feed the animals in the park, so you can't really get in trouble if you get caught.
Right.
So this was our first year as a charity haunt. And for the first time ever, I actually set something up in my yard before Halloween night, and it was this. It was an old coffin that I had done. It was one of the first props I had done. It was ridiculously large, and I didn't use it anymore. So I had seen, people like Jason Becker and Chris Ainsworth doing the whole charity angle, and I said, you know what? I get enough people now. I'm going to try that and see what we can do. So I came up with this idea. I ripped the old coffin down, made it a more manageable size. I said, let's do a canned food drive and have the people actually come in and actually put the canned food items in the coffin. So this was set up in the front yard for 2 weeks. I made the sign, just, it's printouts real quick. And I posted on the local Nextdoor app for this neighborhood. And the response, took off. I had one of the neighbors like 2 days after call me and she's like, I got to help you do this too. So she came over, dropped off a 300 count box of lollipops to help out because on Halloween night, I moved it to the top of the driveway, and anybody that came in and dropped canned food items into the coffin, I made a special treat bag that had a couple extra candy bars, a little plastic spider, and then I created a little glow-in-the-dark pin. It said, I filled the coffin for a cause, just to, as a thanks for their donations.
Oh,
and then they got to,
nice.
Then they got to go to the walk-in crypt and then get their regular candy too. So, we set that up, and it was crazy. And we ended up we got 143 canned food items, and like $75 in cash donations. So I was able to, take 5 boxes worth of food over to the local canned food food bank. So for year one, it was incredibly successful. So I can't wait to do it again next year.
Yeah. See, that's the difference between haunters and the sea people.
Yeah.
We all do it for charity. You don't get that. You don't get that. They don't get it.
Yeah. And I'm at the point now where we had 489 trick-or-treaters and parents and, neighbors and curious onlookers. I said, we have enough of a presence now. We get enough people in here. It's time to, let's do something good with this. So.
Right. Very cool. Very cool. All right. We're going to move on to Stevie. Stevie's young heart. Oh, yeah.
Hey, that's a nice shot.
That is a really nice shot.
Good lighting.
I've always been jealous of him. I hate him for his lighting. It's like, you suck ass.
Good lighting.
You're like
Good eye for
Texan.
detail,
He
Steve.
always does the lighting right. It's like it's
Well,
always
this
big.
I think this actually has like a little bit of a filter on it to kind of pop the color, but
Yeah, you're not supposed to say that. You're supposed to go, yeah, that's exactly what it looks like.
it looks pretty similar to that.
There you go.
So, and that's a new archway that I built last year. I think I did a YouTube video on that. My old archway was the
Steve,
like
you didn't do a video on that.
foam box, and the letters were cut out of the box, and then I put a light inside the box, and that's been my arch since like forever. And I actually ended up giving that to another haunter. So,
Was it Laurence?
it says
No
like,
one-
That's what I was like.
Did you ship it to Canada?
Laurence, I want to know. Bad.
and so I gave that away and was like, well, I still want an arch of some kind, but and so I ended up making that one. So I like it. It's pretty cool. So I'm actually going to change the orientation of my haunt this year to where, like, if you're looking at it right there, that direction, you're going to be looking at the side of my haunt. So I'm going to do something a little bit different this year. We'll see how it goes.
Very cool.
Nice.
There's a good shot of the ghosts. So all of those ghosts you see there are tied into that crank ghost mechanism. So every single one of those at one point went up and down really cool. Like I was so excited and I was like, this is gonna be the most awesome thing ever. And it was, but not on Halloween. So but like I
Well,
said,
Steve, you should have done the video.
yeah, well, I did do a video, and I think I did do a video of setting up the crank ghost, so there you can see it during the day when I first started it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's a video on YouTube. And then when I did my actual haunt video, there is like, I don't know, it's literally like a 5 or 6 second clip of them going up and down.
And you put lighting in them, or is it just because they're white?
No,
They're
that's those LED black lights that I bought.
Yeah, they look really good.
Yeah, they glowed really well. I also sprayed it's a trick I don't know if everybody knows, but it like just laundry detergent. It fluoresces like crazy. Just get a spray bottle and spray that cheesecloth down with laundry detergent, and they'll be like twice as bright.
Any kind? Any
Yeah.
kind? Any kind of laundry detergent?
Yeah, the next time you have a black light in the laundry room, Diablo, just turn it on and you'll see how bright it is.
And you heard it first on Hunter's Hangout.
You learn something every new on Hunter's Hangout.
Right.
That's right. It's an exclusive from Steve-O.
That's right.
Courtney wants to know if you added the shrubbery to the scene, or is this all natural?
Yeah, all that shrubbery you see except for the tree is all stuff that I added. I literally collect weeds and freaking vines and
You
from
got
all
to
over
keep
the
Steve
neighborhood.
away from your morning glory because he will just rip it out.
I will. And then so on the guy that's pneumatic, so the column on the left, he's just to the left of that. So the year before last, I had that guy in the same place, but I had a step mat. And I am so done with using step mats because the kids will find where they are and then they'll just sit there and like smash on it to make the prop go off. So what I did was on the right-hand side of this photo, see that skeleton on the far, far right, and you can just see his hand and like one leg and one arm. There was a button on his hand and it said, please do not press this button. I put a sign there on Halloween day. And so if you press that button, it would set off the pneumatic way on the left side of the other column. And no one ever figured out that's what it did. It's pretty cool.
That was a good idea.
Yeah.
Nice.
Because, you say don't push the button. They're going to push the button.
Absolutely.
They are, just because.
For sure.
Well, and those step pads, they break, and the kids are hard on them.
Yeah. Yeah. They'll just sit there and just stomp on it for like an hour. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
get out of here.
All right.
That's right. Move on.
All right, guys. Well, I think that's about it. And, man, I want to thank you guys for coming on. You guys got amazing haunts.
Yes.
Tons of inspiration. Tons of, man, it's just like all your haunts were like amazing. And we just want to thank you for coming on. You guys are great. And we want to go through the prizes and get that over with. And just remember, we got one show left. We got a season finale, and that's going to be a scene set show.
Who's on the season finale? You heard it first on Hunter's Hangout.
I'm not saying who's on it. You're going to see who's on it.
You're not going to tell me.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you, but it's how to scene set your whole hunt, how to do all the pillars, how to do the walls, everything. That's going to be the season finale next week. So don't miss out. And that's going to be it for the whole season of Hunter's Hangout until next year. But we're going to go over to the prizes, and Jamie's going to let us know who won what.
All right, I'm going to butcher some names.
All right, butcher away.
Okay, so first prize we're giving away tonight is the mask from Face Factory FX. And that prize goes to Brent Wilson. And then next we have the 4 clown masks from Fright Props, and those go to Ryan Greger.
Nice.
That's a great prize.
All right, the Sinful Audios, the one free SFX library, and I am so sorry because I'm going to kill your last name, but it goes to Ken Honigam, Honigman, however you say that. Ken, you won that.
Woo! All right.
You would think I would pick people that could actually say their names. All right, the Black Cat Ornament from Ornaments goes to Dorothea Bunner.
You're getting better at that.
Just let it roll. It's going to sound right.
The Gallon of Fog from Froggy's Fog goes to Bob Kowal.
Nice. All right, Bob.
The Green Haunter Illuminated Desk Sign from Haunt Labs goes to Crossbone Cemetery, and they will put your state on the sign for you.
Nice.
And then don't forget, everybody tonight gets 50% off of Sam Haines if you use the code HAUNTERS, all capital letters.
Nice. Hey, and just so you guys know, their stuff's only like $1, so you're only paying 50 cents.
And it's amazing. You're gonna want some of that stuff.
Got some
I'm writing that down. Haunter.
Got some good tunes in there.
And the realistic looking skull from Nightmare Makers goes to Christopher Presley.
Nice.
The Hollywood FX Hybrid Alcohol Airbrush Makeup, 2 ounces in black and red from I Love FX Makeup, goes to Keith Johnson.
Woo!
Pair of exotic lenses from, pair of lenses from Exotic Lenses goes to Deb Anderson.
Hey, Deb!
And finally, the $25 gift card from Hotwire Foam Factory goes to Jason Oliver.
Oh, of course. Oh, yeah.
Jason
The giver.
So if I called your name, please send me a message and send me your name, your address, your phone number, and your email. And I will get that out to you and get your prizes sent your way.
Woohoo! All right.
Good job, Jamie. It's a hard job.
Right. I mean, you guys are amazing. You have amazing haunts. And please, if you guys want to go check out their videos of their haunts, it's all in the descriptions, their YouTube channel, Snapchats, all that stuff. I mean, they do amazing work, and they do a lot of tutorials. You'll definitely be impressed if you weren't impressed already. And we will send the link.
You will be.
Yeah, we'll send the link to the chat right down at the bottom that you guys can join in and ask them questions if you can get in. All right. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.